Hi, and welcome to the Spark the Heartz podcast. My name is Lizzie, and I'm an intuitive energy channel and a Reiki practitioner. This podcast is a safe space where we talk about spirituality, energetics, cycles, rebirth, and so much more. So while I'm in your field of awareness today, I hope you tune into the frequency of this episode with an open heart and a new sense of curiosity. As a reminder, you're a sovereign being, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Let's get started. Welcome to episode 4. I want to start off this episode with a disclaimer because the contents of this episode dive into sacred medicine and it shouldn't be taken lightly. I'm a firm believer in intention and also hold respect for spirit and spiritual work as well. But I also want to remind you about how you should be respecting yourself as you do this work for yourself. This is your journey. But I also want to remind you about how you should be respecting yourself as you do this work as well. This is your journey, and I'm here to be a guide. So I want to invite you and anyone else who you may share this episode with that maybe is new to this topic to take the time to do some self-reflection and ask yourself some of the questions when they arise on this episode. I added some journal prompts in the show notes to help anyone who would like to dive deeper to figure out why you want to work with Serpent Spirit and how you can do so, and what it is you'd like to shed while you work with the Serpent Spirit. My intention for this episode is to pay homage and gratitude to the Serpent Spirit and spread its medicine in a way that can heal many who have feared or couldn't understand its medicine over the years. I'm going to be answering questions like what is serpent medicine like, how to work with Serpent Spirit medicine for yourself. But I'm going to start off with a card pull. This card is a great one because it's going to set the tone for how you can integrate this information for yourself. This card comes from the Kyle Gray Angels and Ancestors Oracle Cards Guidebook. The card I pulled is Moon, and the notes below it says, take note of intuitive messages. Use your intuition, practice discernment, see through illusions and blockages. The moon is strongly associated with the divine feminine and the energy of receiving. If the sun is God, the moon is goddess. And so she offers powerful energy of polarity and balance. She has a cyclic energy and is therefore strongly connected to emotions, which often come and go in waves, and to somewhat interesting behavior. So when the moon appears in a reading, you're often being told that not everything is as it seems. The moon has a dark side, just dark, not negative, and can show you what you've been kept in the dark about. Lunar energies are surrounding your life, allowing you to understand what is standing in your way. Not everything is as it seems, and you're being guided to use your discernment. When the moon appears, intuitive or psychic urges are increased. So take note of any feelings arising at this time. They are messages from your soul and angels. The moon shines her light on all that has been kept in the dark. So ask yourself if you're avoiding anything or refusing to deal with something of importance. If so, it could be holding you in the shadows when your destiny is to be in the light. If this card appears when you feel someone isn't being completely real with you, know that their intentions will be revealed to you. The moon has no secrets. She reveals all. And I feel like she's the perfect portal for starting this topic about Serpent Spirit medicine. And why I say that is because the moon is super intuitive. It carries this energy that can affect our emotions. And the Serpent Spirit medicine has so many things it can affect in us. And what is Serpent Spirit medicine like? It can be intense or light depending on your intention and your willingness to release control over outcomes. I've experienced the Serpent Spirit activating me and invoking change in some of the most uncomfortable ways because of my fear-based filters I had for so long. Much like a physical serpent's venom, the Serpent Spirit's medicine can come and strike us unknowingly and shock our systems of beliefs, emotions, nerves, and cardiovascular as well, literally affecting our physical body. Because as it shifts our mental, emotional states, that has an effect on our physical body and our spiritual body too. What you believe does affect you. And this Serpent Spirit medicine is very, very potent and has the magic and the chemistry to change our lives. And I'm not just BSing on this. I've gone through it. Trust me. It can push us into uncomfortable change when we least expect it, but it always carries this higher wisdom and love for us, even if we misinterpret uncomfortableness for chaos. It's trying to clear what is no longer working for us, and it knows how much the environment around and in us needs to change in order for true change to emerge. Another aspect to its medicine is the vision it holds. The Serpent Spirit has the ability to see into other realms and dimensions and can see past what is in our physical reality. So it's a powerful guide to invoke with intentions that are clear in your heart to help you transform into the future visions you want and see for yourself. Again, full disclaimer, the serpent medicine can be very intense, and your willingness to release control over outcomes or how you want things to unfold is a big part of how your healing journey with the Serpent Spirit can feel and look like. If this is something you aren't ready for just yet, I invite you to sit and meditate or contemplate on another guide that fits your method of change. I offer the monarch butterfly and the hummingbird spirits as softer guides that I have personally worked with through my spiritual awakenings in times where I needed activation to come in different areas of my life, or transformation, change. They help me on a softer level. And I say this because, as I mentioned in the other examples, how serpent medicine can be like, their medicine comes in softly, supportive. I remember one time when I was having a lot of changes coming in as far as like job, friendships. There was a time I was running outside and there was monarch butterflies just like fluttering all around me. But it was really interesting because I think before I had went on a run, I was kind of having an internal dialogue conversation with my guides and just asking for signs. So when I was running, I kept seeing all these monarch butterflies come at me, and I still remember that experience to this day. So when I came back and I just like decided to Google monarch symbolism, then I saw, the confirmation of transformation, what is going on, why is it showing up for me? And it was basically to remind me that I have this inner strength within me to intuitively move and know what I have to do. It's just connecting with that. Just like they know their flight pattern to go from California to different parts of California and different parts of Mexico, because they travel and they mate in certain spots of California and Mexico, and then they go and they travel afterwards to a warmer climate, and they have to make these long trips that are thousands of miles, and they know intuitively within them this is just where they have to go, even if they don't understand the full picture. It's like they're being heart-led. This is why I'm giving you this lighter example of a spirit to work with, because even though it seems like a gentle being, it's strong. It's smaller, but it's so strong because it can travel for miles and days to live out its life cycle, to reproduce and come back into showing us humans what it's like to migrate, what it's like to transform from a caterpillar into a chrysalis, to really like strip yourself of everything that you are not and become this beautiful butterfly that still has to travel thousands of miles just to mate and ensure that your lineage carries on, that your magic stays here on this earth, that generations to come get to enjoy their beauty and their symbolism. So if this aligns to your energy now, connect with that being, and kind of use what I'm going to tell you about how to work with Serpent Spirit medicine, which is going to come up next, and just plug in, instead of Serpent Spirit medicine, try to look at the symbolism for a hummingbird or a monarch butterfly and see how that can support you. Now I'm going to move on to how to work with Serpent Spirit medicine for yourself. Number 1, intention, self-reflection, and inventory of where you are at right now and want to be. I want you to get really clear about your intentions with working with the Serpent Spirit. Really look at yourself and ask hard questions. The Serpent Spirit is sacred and deserves respect, and so do you. You are a sacred and sovereign being, and this isn't something to play with or take lightly. Respecting yourself and knowing where you are at this time in your life is self-love. Number 2 on my list for how to work with Serpent Spirit is ritual work. Now, this is going to look different for everybody because there's people who don't do ritual work. There's people that do ritual work that may not have heard it called that before. I feel like prayer is a form of ritual work, even if it's not seen like how the movies portray it or what you see on mainstream media or social media or in the spiritual community. Ritual work can be as simple as lighting a candle and saying a prayer. And you see that when people go to churches and they light candles for loved ones that have passed or in commemorance of someone. You can do that to work with Serpent Spirit as well. If you don't have a candle, don't worry about it. A simple prayer and inviting in the light of God, the light of Source, the light of the universe to come in to protect you and surround you with light and surround you with love. But not just light and love, but wisdom and the strength of the Serpent Spirit. And you can even ask the Serpent Spirit, who is of the highest good, to show you what you need to see to be able to reflect and shed from your life. What is it that you've outgrown? What environment have you outgrown that you've been ignoring? What aspect of your life needs a different environment to be able to shed? These are things that ritual work can help energetically move. Things that you may not be able to see with your physical eyes, but you can feel and sense with your body or your emotions that you've been ignoring a little bit. So I find prayer work being something so amazing that you kind of just open your heart up to and you allow a higher power to come in to clear up the fogginess or the misunderstandings within yourself. And it doesn't always come in immediately. It might take a day or two, but I always ask when I do my prayer work, can you guys just remind me? And when I say you guys, my team in spirit, the Council of 11, I always ask them, can you guys remind me? I'm praying for this today, but can you just remind me what I prayed for when it shows up so that I don't forget to give gratitude in that moment? So I throw in that little clause in there because it helps me remember I prayed for this, because life gets so busy. And even though I do this work, I still have my normal human ways of being, of going on with my day, paying my bills, hanging out with friends, hanging out with family. And this kind of like sits there but isn't fully at my awareness. And so I always like to throw that little clause out there because it helps ground me back to this is the ritual work that I did to call this in. So when you're doing stuff in the energetic realm, it really does flood through into the physical depending on how non-resistant you are to it. So I always find it fascinating. Number 3 on my list on how to work with Serpent Spirit medicine for yourself is letter writing. You can do this like during a new moon, or it's funny because the card was the moon, but you can do this during a new moon. It's a great time to release the old and allow for new in. Writing a letter to the Serpent Spirit on such a day can be potent, but you don't have to wait for such a day. When you move from the heart space and write a letter requesting help with releasing the old, or just to be able to grow and recognize and become more aware of the Serpent Spirit, is here to help you gain that awareness to move forward through life with more ease. Don't wait for a specific date. If you want true change, you can do that now. Whether it's writing on paper and using a pen or a pencil, or on your phone, if you have the capability to, open up a notepad and just start writing and say, "Dear Serpent Spirit, I wanted to work with you because ... So that's one way you could do it. I've always loved doing this ritual when there's full moons and new moons, depending on what sign they fall on. If I pay attention to it, sometimes I don't, to be honest. But one part of my ritual work that I like to do randomly is to write a letter. And I usually make it out to the universe and I'll say thank you. And I'll state it in a way that is present with the things that I want. So I'll say thank you for helping me gain the clarity that I needed to be here where I feel more at ease and flow, where my creativity is unfolding each day much more easily. I state things in the present and give thanks and gratitude for whatever I want. And I usually fold up the letter, and I'll usually place a little white candle over it and light it and just say a prayer over it as well. And this is, in a sense, prayer work, ritual work, and as well as letter writing. So ritual work can really expand out very big. You can work with water, you can do different modalities, but these are some that I'm just bringing to the table so that you can have a broader awareness of what can entail working with Serpent Spirit medicine. Another aspect to this is educating yourself. This is my number 4. Spending some time with ancient texts and mythology has really helped me understand the serpent spirit outside of my personal interactions, as well as learning about the traits and qualities of different species of snakes that are found in our physical reality. If you dance with fear of them for a large part of your life, like I did, understanding, quote unquote, your enemy can help you see them in a new light that may not have you feeling like they're your enemies, but a part of your life. However, this new knowledge helps you to see them in whatever new title you want to give them. But I have found, and I truly believe, that knowledge gives us the ability to comprehend to a certain degree. But it's through embodiment and understanding that we truly transform. So for me, hearing about Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god that merges opposites, earth and sky, human and divine, is perfect for integrating shadow and light. The story of Medusa and her hair of snakes that turned men into stone, that fascinated me as a child because I thought, wow, snakes can do that. So this is what I'm saying. There are all these tales, fables, mythology, ancient texts, but then there's also fact and science behind what an actual serpent can do. There's also the storytelling aspect of it, things that haven't been written, but were told through word, practices that were ancient, that were passed down to shamans. It's helped me understand how magical this serpent spirit's medicine is for transformation, integration, shedding the old and becoming new. So don't sleep on educating yourself, getting a little bit familiar with something that is new so that you don't go in so blindsided by the frequencies and the potency of its magic. Instead, this gives you, to a sense, an awareness of it. Doesn't mean that you have to have this filter on it. It's just, again, I have to say, knowledge can only give you so much to comprehend. But when you're embodying it and when you're understanding it within your body through your experiences, you gain a different level of awareness and wisdom. And so that's what I'm saying. Gain the education, but don't sleep on trying to break it down in a way where it can help you in your day-to-day life. And what I mean by that is, for example, when I learned that snakes have heat vision, they can see in ultraviolet, and they can see in blue and green. It helped me understand that their way of seeing the world is very different physically. I'm talking about physical snakes. So when I sat to meditate and I thought about the snake spirit and I connected with that frequency, it allowed me to see if these physical beings are gifted with these gifts from the snake spirit or the serpent spirit. Then I know for a fact that the serpent spirit's abilities expand way beyond that range. And I say that because I feel like their physical representation here on Earth, but the snake spirit has this way of breaking through dimensions and seeing and crossing time and space, like doing this dance that doesn't get stopped by the physical or the spiritual. It literally is a time traveler. It has the ability to flow through different states of being, physical, non-physical, etheric, seen, and the unseen. This is how I can connect learning through textbook stories. And then when I sit and I meditate with the Serpent Spirit and allow it to show itself to me, I'm able to gain a deeper understanding within my inner world of how that can look and feel like. And while I speak to you guys, I know that this is gonna enter your field of awareness and understanding at different levels. If it is making no sense and you're like, Lizzie girl, I don't know what the heck you're saying to me right now, I'm not understanding this, don't worry about understanding. Let it hit your frequency field. Maybe integrate some time. Again, this is why I release my episodes every other Thursday, to give you guys some time to integrate what I've just spoken about and let it come in and do its thing and just activate you on different levels, but also help you to gain a deeper awareness of yourself on a whole nother level. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to number 5 on how you can work with Serpent Spirit medicine. Meditation. Meditation is my number 5. Now I'm going to share what I do. If you have a certain method to your way of working in meditation, by all means, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But I want to share that during my channeling training that I took through Spirit School Magic with Amy Sikarsky and Nicole Angel, I learned that it was important to clear your energetic body and call in protection from Source, God, and or the angelic realms, as well as having a gatekeeper is also a must. This has always helped me feel at ease in my body when I do sacred work and energy work through my meditations. I share this now in case this is something you would like to do for yourself. Maybe in the near future, I might share a guided meditation on this podcast as a bonus episode. I personally like to work with Archangel Michael and ask him to protect me in a white bubble of light after I've cleared my energetic body and aura and the space that I am working in as well. I invoke the Serpent Spirit through my inner voice, if not my physical voice out loud in the room that I'm in. But I always make sure to add that the Serpent Spirit is one who is working for my highest good and the highest good of all others as well. I give thanks, and I also ask for example, I ask the Serpent Spirit to help me to shed what is old and to recognize it and be able to understand how it's affecting me now and how it's affected me in the past, so that I can learn from the lessons of not being able to speak up, for example. I shared on my last podcast episode how conditioning and projections from my grandmother shut down the talking. And for a long time, I wouldn't speak up about things I would see just because of how it was received from others. Now, I'm in my 30s. I'm out here doing a whole podcast because it's time to speak up about that. So while I'm speaking to you, I'm being reminded of that little girl who got shut down. But the Snake Spirit also helps me remember how much I had to shed, the conditioning, the projections, the programming, the upgrades, and the deprogramming that I overtook throughout my whole life. And how even if it was uncomfortable, it got me to the place that I am now. So it's really important to be clear on your energy work for yourself. And what I mean by that is like making sure that you're clearing your space, making sure that you're clearing your body, your energetic body, your aura, and that you're setting the tone to allow for protection to be here for you. And so that you know that you have spiritual discernment when it's needed. Because when you know what it's like to be in your own energetic field, it's easy to tell when something's off. So if this sounds super advanced and something that's like out of your ballpark, that's okay. I truly invite you to maybe start small with baby steps. Like, you're not going to give a baby, I've heard before, a whole steak. You're going to start with food that it can digest. So milk, something light, liquid, easy to digest. In that terms of this work, I kind of suggest maybe a 5-minute meditation. Look it up on YouTube, look it up on Spotify, or whatever platform you like to find your meditations, and just look up 5-minute cleansing meditation or guided cleansing meditation and work with that and build yourself up. Then once you can start to have, in a sense, solids, you build up to maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you start to maybe explore, what is a gatekeeper? How do I connect with my gatekeeper? And if it calls to you to do an online course or find some meditations, but I feel like you always want to have steps that help you have discernment. So if you're working with your energy field first, it really clears up a lot. I kid you not, if somebody would have told me when I was a kid, Lizzie, it's important that since you're so sensitive, you spend some time by yourself in your room, 5 minutes a day, and just imagine that light is like a waterfall, white light cascading over your body and entering every crevice of your body and inside of you, down to the bone, to the marrow, through your bloodstream, through your nervous system, and then trickles out into this egg shape that is about 5 to 6 feet outside of you, and you're glistening in this white light, and you allow yourself to be connected to that, it would have switched up how I would have felt. I would have recognized to some degree that nervousness or that anxiety I felt, or the pressure, because I would literally feel like energetically things push up on me and I could not describe them because I did not have the vocabulary. But if I would have had somebody just say that to me, or if this is you, I'm saying it to you now too, take the time to spend some time with your energetic body and get clear on it before you do any of this stuff, just so that you know what your baseline is, you know what your plateau is, so that when you're out of alignment or dysregulated, you really know how you feel. And when I took the Learn to Channel course, that was my biggest game changer. I think I even used to always ask, how do people know when stuff is entering their auric field? Like, I want to understand that. And I realized that it was in me clearing up my own energetic body, my chakra system, the different layers of my aura, and really asking for activations and clarity and discernment. It helped me realize when I walked into rooms when things were there and they would touch my auric field, how much it was not mine. And this whole time I thought it was it was just me going into a room or me going into spaces and feeling like, oh, I'm not okay today all of a sudden, but there's so much energetic debris being left by everybody. Thought forms, emotions, projections, expectations, judgments, just like hanging out in the field. So think of it as like people always leaving their stuff. Especially like me, I work customer service for such a long time. And part of customer service is figuring out things for people. And in the process of figuring out things, I ask questions. And sometimes when those questions get asked, they would overly explain their situation. And I remember I would always feel like, why does it feel like it's taking so long to get an answer? But in the process of getting an answer, I'm feeling so drained. Well, after my channeling training, I realized how much people were unloading onto me because my awareness became broader. And I could literally sense when people would talk, it's almost like there was a flood of energetic and emotional, the waterfall of their stuff just being flooded into my auric field. And I always felt like, oh, this is that feeling I would feel. Now I have an image behind it. How do I protect myself with that? And so I would literally imagine a wastebasket, like a Barney bag wastebasket that does not ever fill up. It just all gets dumped there instead of staying in my auric field. So when I would instinctively feel like this person was going to do this to me, I would put that there so it can catch that overspill there, because they want to leave it. They want to unload their troubles. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't want it to stay with me. So part of energetic hygiene is having an awareness of how you feel and having steps in how to take care of yourself through that process. So that's a method I came up with. And there's a lot of other ways that you can do it, but that's just something I wanted to share that I personally do. It just popped in my head while I'm recording this, so I figured might as well share it. Another aspect to using the wastebasket for clearing emotional debris that's trying to enter your auric field, you don't want to leave the trash can in your aura on the outside. If the person happens to be really close to you, they're standing literally in your aura. So you want to make sure that after the conversation's had, the interaction is done, that you cleared that trash can out of your auric field. And what I personally like to do is, depending on how heavy it was of an interaction, if it's something that is affecting the other being on the other side, I hand it over to the angels and I ask them to please help this person with what is going on in their life, and so that they can be supported spiritually on whatever degree they need for their highest good. If it's something that's just heavy, sticky, and just like a really not pleasant interaction, I take a lot of white light from the light of God and I just ask that it be cleared. And of course, I ask that that person get whatever support they need as well and have it cleared that way, because it's energy, emotional energy coming in. So I like to use a lot of light frequencies to come in. I tend to use white a lot for clearing, but if there's something where I feel like green can come in, pink can come in, I share a lot of light frequency information on my Instagram. If you want to check out those posts, they're there. You can read up on them. Maybe one day I'll teach about this, but for now, I just wanted to share this with you guys so that you have tools on how to protect yourself energetically, but also how to be aware of how to cleanse what you're using to protect yourself as well, so it doesn't just stay in your field and go unattended or left to just be there. It's important to remember to take the steps to clear out what's there so it doesn't stay there or affect you. Or like, would you leave a trash can in your house for weeks on end even though it's full of trash and you get this smell? Like, think of that energetic wastebasket as being that. Just because it can fill up so much doesn't mean that it needs to be left there. It's energetic hygiene for a reason. Make sure that you're taking the steps to be super clear about what you're doing and being aware of why and how you can help yourself keep a clean environment as well. Now that I've shared how Serpent Spirit medicine can be like and how you can work with Serpent Spirit medicine, I want to share a little bit of my cosmic dance with the Serpent Spirit, because this has been an energy that has been in my life for a very long time. And I've realized that while I was getting my gears, getting my footing on what I wanted to share with you guys when I was coming up with my experiences, and one that was like the catalyst for my cosmic dance with the Serpent Spirit was, it actually started in the summer of 1997. I was actually 6 at the time. It was the summer of 97 and my cousins were visiting from out of state. We were watching the summer blockbuster movie Anaconda that was actually rated PG-13. I state that because honestly, I was not old enough to understand that this movie was fake. I was 6 years old. I wasn't even half the age that was needed to be able to watch this movie, guys. As I'm telling you guys this, I'm also realizing like, oh God, that's why it hit me so much. Like, this movie traumatized me. It literally shifted my beliefs and understandings about how snakes work or act in this physical reality. It like really, I had this like thick filter for years and nobody around me ever said like, Lizzie, this movie isn't real. Like, Lizzie, that's not how snakes act. Like, I didn't really have that until I met my husband, who is a snakes enthusiast. And partly because of him, I started to change my beliefs and my ways of seeing snakes in this reality, the serpents, actually. And that really helped me a lot because I was the type who would see a snake in public, and even if it was 5 feet away, I would be like, oh no, I can't. Or like even scrolling on the internet, if I saw an image of a serpent, I would place my hand over the image just to still read the article because I wanted to know the spiritual understanding of it, or I wanted to understand something, but I didn't want to see it. So it would freak me out. And then as time went by and I was put in uncomfortable positions in this physical reality, I started to realize like they're not even attacking me. I'm letting fear filter my experiences because I didn't understand them all these years. And so as that slowly started to shift, I realized now like Serpent Spirit had came as a catalyst into my life through trauma of that Anaconda movie in 1997, because that night I had a nightmare where me and my cousin were being chased through the apartment we used to live in. This is me, little 6-year-old me, like just seeing us being chased by this huge anaconda in my dream. And I remember the anaconda like broke down the door we had locked to my room, and then it literally, this is going to be graphic, but like it ate through my cousin's stomach, and then she dropped to the floor and was dead. And the snake like stood back and was like ready to attack, but instead of attacking me, it just looked me straight in the eyes. And I remember looking at that snake and I was just like in disbelief, and I woke up and I was in sweat. That was a night. That was a nightmare, big time. Fast forward, I'm just like, I don't think I've ever told anybody about this nightmare, to be honest, besides my husband. You guys get the honor of hearing about my nightmare, my experience, how my cosmic dance started with the Serpent Spirit. To be honest, it was not the best at the time, but now in my 30s, I can reflect back and see like, okay, I probably shouldn't have been let to watch that movie, but different times. It was the 90s, like Goosebumps was a thing. There was Puppet Master, all these other things going on. And it's like I have older siblings, so whatever they'd be watching, I'd be watching. But to stay on topic, a fun fact I wanted to share about astrology as well as movie facts. The movie Anaconda came out on April 11th of 1997 and on April 7th of 1997 as well. Saturn entered Aries and lasted until February 28th of 1999. And this year, now 2025, it's going to be transitioning, Saturn is going to be transitioning into Aries on May 24th of 2025, and it'll be there until April 12th of 2028. The reason I'm bringing up this topic is because Saturn is like a big planet. It asks for discipline. It asks to not do things the fast way. And Aries is like in opposition of that. It like wants things fast. It's impulsive. But this is bringing that energy of getting stuff done and being able to do it. So the fact that I'm sharing that this movie affected me back in 1997, and it's part of that Serpent Spirit medicine that was a catalyst back then, even though it was invoked by a lot of fear, it started something. And actually this year, another movie titled Anaconda is going to be coming out December of 2025, which I found very interesting because I take this as a cosmic signal that things of the past are going to be coming up for me. And I get the feeling for you guys because it really got ignited when I was watching this YouTube video, and I put the link to it. It's Astrology by Heather. If you guys want to check out her YouTube channel, I'll have the link in the show notes. She asked a question like, what was going on in your life during 1997 through 1999? And I was 6, turning 8 between that time frame. I'm an October baby, so I was born late in the year. So I can easily tell like I was a year younger than when the year it actually is. So if it's April of 1997, I know I'm 6 because I haven't turned that year yet, that last digit of the year. Let's put it this way. During that time frame, I was having a lot going on, and I still, like, I can go back to certain pictures and see how I would feel. So I was having like a lot of internal emotions and expression, and anger came up at a young age for me, but I couldn't express with my words. Again, that theme of shutting down the talking. Like I had to suppress a lot of my emotions and I couldn't speak up about it. And now, ding ding, it's 2025. What do I got? I got a podcast. What's happening outside in my of that is that I'm expressing more. I'm sharing my feelings. I'm talking about stuff. I'm sharing my gifts and my abilities with everybody. I'm allowing myself to be seen where before I felt like I had to be forced to be shut down. So I want you to also think about what were some things for you guys April 11th, or not April 11th, but April of 1997 and through February of 1999, like what was going on with you? What was going on in your home? What was going on in your country? Because I feel like these themes are coming up to be relived in a different way, and you got to see certain aspects of it play out during those years. I know I was super young and there's only so much I can remember, but maybe like going back to photo albums or seeing your 7th birthday, talking about me, but how old were you in 1997? Through 1999, what were some things that were going on? How old were the people in your life? Like just pay attention to that and ask yourself, because I feel like you can delve into some things that might be showing up for you or have already shown up, because the fact that I am sharing about this podcast right now, and I'm sharing how one of my catalysts was that movie, and that movie is being remade and coming out this year. When I started my podcast this year, when I started to speak up and allow people to see me a lot more than usual and getting more vulnerable, I don't think it's a coincidence. Guys. So take it for what you may, but let's move on. Now, I've also had this cosmic dance with the Serpent Spirit through dreams. Aside from my physical reality being like a really rough one, it would come into my dreams at different ages. But before I delve into another dream I want to share with you guys, I wanted to share that when I was around 12, I think between 10 to 12 age range, was when I remember my mom having this white snake belt. It was the 90s. It was a different time. That belt made me feel so uncomfortable because every time I had to go in her room to go get something, I feel like I'd have to hide it to feel comfortable, because the belt was a white snake with red eyes, and I felt like it was always looking at me, and it made me feel some type of way because of how I still had that filter. Mind you, I'm older, but I still have that filter of these unrealistic beliefs of how snakes act. Like this thing was obviously couldn't attack me, but how uncomfortable I felt with something that couldn't even move and was just there, in a sense was a decoration for somebody to wear on their body, still made me feel uncomfortable. Makes me really see how unrealistic my beliefs about snakes in the physical were. And then fast forward, I'm in my 20s at this point. My husband is my boyfriend then, and I remember having this dream where I'm walking down this dirt path, and in the distance ahead of me, like the landscape rises up a little bit, and I can see this white snake coiled up, and its head is on top, and I can see its fangs just embedded within its own skin. This purple blood just is coming out of the white snake, and it freaked me out in the dream. I just remember thinking, oh no, I can't walk that way. Like, this is how that same belief, or that same fear and beliefs that I had about snakes was still running through me, even in my dream states. And it would like create this sense of panic in my dream. And so I remember like going backwards was not an option. Like that didn't even cross my mind in the dream. I remember looking to the right and to the left. And to the left, there was like tall grass and this very large slope to climb. But in the distance, I can also see that there was a white snake, same thing, coiled up, biting into itself and bleeding purple blood. And so I looked to the right, and there was tall grass, and there was no mountain to climb, but there was a white snake biting into itself, bleeding purple blood. And I woke up. I remember I was just like so in shock, like that dream was so vivid in detail, like everything was so vibrant, the greens, the browns, the whites, the purples, and just like the feelings that just came through my body in the dream were so intense. I even woke up feeling that in my body, and my heart was pounding. To this day, I still remember that dream so vividly. When I first had it, I never interpreted it. I never went to go see what it was about until a few years later. I think I slowly started opening up to spirit and opening up that realm a lot more, where I got curious about my dreams and what they actually meant for me. And so when I looked up the meaning of a snake, it's like transformation, rebirth, death and rebirth. No matter which direction I was going to take in that dream, that energy of death and rebirth and transformation was going to be in my field. And the color white is healing, and it's also connected to spirit. As I'm sharing this with you guys, regardless of which route I decided to go, whether I made it difficult and I was walking through the tall grass afraid that I was going to get bit by a snake and just being anxious, or if I decided to climb that steep mountain off to the side, or that steep edge off to the side and walk through that tall grass being anxious as heck, it was going to lead me all to the same place. I had the decision of I can either take the dirt path down the main road and just face what's in front of me. Regardless of which path I was going to take, it just helps me to see that I was going to be here regardless. No matter how easy or how hard I made it on myself, that was going to happen. And one of the things that I highlighted to you guys about Serpent Spirit medicine, it's so potent. It is so potent. It can be intense or light depending on your intention and your willingness to release control over outcomes. I told y'all, I experienced the spirit activating me in different ways and invoking change in my life in some of the most uncomfortable ways because of my fear-based filters that I've had for a long time. Now being in this present moment, as I started to do the work to deprogram, upgrade, reset, and really allow myself to have a more open experience through my heart and not just my mind, and to get more curious with things. It's allowed me to be comfortable within myself and my gifts and my abilities, and to be able to share these stories here with you today, because this isn't a side I've shared to very many. And like I said before, like my nightmare, I didn't share with anybody. I don't even think I shared it with my cousins at the time that were visiting until I shared it with my husband, and now I'm sharing it with you guys on this podcast. So I want you to think back to, is there a certain spirit animal that has been in your life that you've danced with the theme of fear around for a while? And have you done the steps to maybe ask yourself, why am I afraid of it? What has it been showing me? And do I understand it? And do I want to understand it? You're a sovereign being. You don't have to. But I want you to at least reflect on what is going on with yourself. And if this feels like, after listening to my experiences and getting a feel for how my cosmic dance through the light and dark energies, and when I say light and dark, I'm going to be very specific. It's not good or bad. It's just light for me represents the things I did want to see. Dark means the things that I was not ready to see, things hidden in the dark that I was not ready to feel, process, understand, or look at. While the light were the things that I was ready to feel, see, process, look at, and understand. They're just contrasts. Doesn't mean they're bad or good. It just means things hit at different levels. Things get integrated at different levels, and we expand on different levels at different times. It's just having that understanding within yourself as to where you are now. So this is why I started this podcast with a disclaimer, and I kind of feel like I have to end it as well on that same note. Reflect on where you're at right now and ask yourself that really hard question. Am I ready to work with Serpent Spirit? If your answer is no, that's okay. Maybe ask yourself, what other animal spirit can I ask to guide me right now? But if you are the few or the many that did say yes to working with serpent medicine, I want to ask you, what is your intention? What are you looking to shed? What are you looking to transform? And how do you want to let it end and be rebirthed in a different light? And when you get clear about that, do the steps that I shared on this episode to help you work with Serpent Spirit, because it is a loving spirit. And sometimes our filters, our projections, our judgments can get in the way of something so magical. But if we do the work to deprogram, And the Serpent Spirit is a great one to work with for this. We can expand our awareness, our knowledge, and our embodiment of who we truly are. So I hope if you walk away from this podcast episode really integrating anything that I've just said, it's that you have the power through your intention to really change your life if you allow yourself to shed what isn't you anymore, what's never been you but was put on you. And I hope you find the courage and the power and the wherewithal within yourself to know that you are worthy of it and even more. So I'm going to leave this here. Love you. Have a great rest of your day, night, morning, afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you're listening to this. And if you're on a platform that has the ability to leave a comment or review, please do so. I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from? Did you listen to the other episodes? How's your day going? Tune into my social media platforms. I have other ways of being in contact, but I would love to see, not just love to see, but I'd love to read, where are you from? So if you leave a comment or review, I would totally appreciate that. And if you feel the need to get a little bit more of my frequency and my flavor, check me out on my social media handles. Love you guys. Love you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in today. To stay up to date on all my happenings and offerings, I invite you to follow me on my YouTube channel and Instagram, which is at @SparkTheHeartz with the Z at the end. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, please see the links to my booking page and website on the show notes of this episode. Thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to our next gathering. Bye for now.